Good morning. Grab your coffee, pull up a chair, and let's get into it. Imagine you're standing at your local pharmacy counter. You've got a nagging cough, or maybe it's something more serious. A prescription for an essential antibiotic or a life-saving injectable. You hand over your card, expecting the usual 5-minute wait, but the pharmacist gives you that look. You know the one? A slight wince, a shake of the head, and then the words, "I'm sorry, we're out." And honestly, we don't know when the next shipment is coming. Now, you might think this is just a local glitch or a one-off logistics hiccup, but here's the reality you need to face. It's not just your pharmacy. It's everyone's. The latest data just hit the wire, and it is staggering. We are currently tracking 323 active drug shortage cases in the United States. That is a record high. To put that in perspective, that's a 42% jump in just 3 years. We aren't talking about luxury supplements or experimental anti-aging creams here. We're talking about basic penicillin, chemotherapy agents, and essential injectables. The lead time for some of these critical medicines has ballooned to 18 months. Think about that for a second. If you need a specific injectable today, the factory might not even start the run that reaches you until late next year. It's a game of musical chairs with your health on the line, and the music just stopped. Let that sink in. Here's where it gets strange. We live in the wealthiest economy in history, yet we can't keep the most basic medicine on the shelves. Why? Because we've walked right into a $300 billion trap. And today, we're gonna map exactly how it was set. Okay, let's talk about the real problem. This isn't about lazy truck drivers or unprecedented demand. It's about a pincer movement of government policy and geopolitical friction that has made producing medicine a losing game. It's what I call the math of extinction. On one side of the vice, you have the Inflation Reduction Act, or the IRA. It introduced maximum fair price discounts that range from 38 to 79%. Now, on paper, that sounds great for your wallet, right? Lower prices for everyone. But look at the other side of the vice. To make these drugs, we are almost entirely dependent on raw materials, what we call active pharmaceutical ingredients, or APIs, from China and India. In fact, 78% of those ingredients come from across the Pacific, and that's where the friction starts. Enter the new strategic API reciprocal tariff. We're talking about a massive 125% tariff plus a 20% surcharge on chemical exports. Total it up, and you're looking at a 145% tax on the very stuff needed to make your medicine. So do the math with me. The government is mandating that manufacturers sell the final product at a massive discount, while simultaneously making the raw materials nearly 150% more expensive to import. It's a financial pincer. The result? The median profit margin for generic drugs has cratered to just 2.8%. That is a 65% drop in 3 years. In any other industry, a 2.8% margin is a rounding error. It's the kind of margin that makes a CEO look at a product line and say, "Why are we even doing this?" And that is exactly what's happening. Manufacturers are quietly exiting the market. They aren't failing. They are making a rational economic choice to stop producing low-margin lifesavers. It's economically suicidal to keep the machines running when the costs are fixed high and the revenue is capped low. When the math stops working, the medicine stops flowing. And honestly, this is the most interesting part of the whole story. While the big mass-market factories are shutting down their generic lines, a new breed of investor is watching from the sidelines with a very different plan. This isn't a collapse, it's a transition to a much more expensive reality. Let's zoom out for a second and look at who actually wins when the shelves go empty. Now, this is the part I find wild. While you're struggling to find your prescription, there is a mountain of cash waiting to pounce on this crisis. We call it dry powder. Private equity firms currently have about $450 billion earmarked for healthcare. But they aren't buying the giant, struggling generic factories. No, they are way smarter than that. They are pivoting to what we call boutique CDMOs, contract development and manufacturing organizations, and compounding pharmacies. The strategy is brilliant and frankly a bit chilling. If you can't make money on volume, you make money on scarcity. In 2025 alone, we saw a 45% increase in private equity acquisitions of sterile injectable facilities. They are capturing the last-mile nodes of the global supply chain. When the big mass-market drug disappears because the profit margin hits zero, these PE-backed boutique shops step in. They don't have to follow the same rigid price caps because they provide custom compounding or specialized manufacturing. The compounding pharmacy market has surged by 38%, becoming a $16 on $5 billion industry almost overnight. They aren't seeking to solve the shortage. They are monetizing the bottleneck. They are the ones who will have the drug you need, but it won't be at the generic price you're used to. It'll be at a scarcity premium. It's a total re-engineering of how you get your medicine. We're moving from a world of abundance and efficiency to a world of managed famine. Think about that next time you see a headline about a new medical breakthrough. A miracle cure doesn't mean anything if the only people who can manufacture it are small, private equity-controlled labs that charge whatever the market can bear. The global web is being restrung. And for the average patient, it means the convenience of the local pharmacy is being replaced by the logistics of a boutique lab. Is this a revolutionary new business model? Maybe. But for most of us, it feels like an echo of a black market we thought we left behind decades ago. So here's where the story takes a turn. To understand where we're going, we have to look back to 1943. Back then, the world was desperate for penicillin. It was a miracle drug, but it was almost impossible to produce at scale. What did the government do? They didn't just cap prices and hope for the best. They funded the scaling, they subsidized more than 20 companies to build massive infrastructure. They treated medicine like a strategic defense asset. Fast forward to 2026, and we are seeing the exact opposite. The state's own price caps and trade tariffs are the primary drivers of the shortage. It's a complete inversion of government policy. We are defunding the very margins that make the supply chain resilient. And here's the kicker. The timing couldn't be worse. We are currently facing what economists call a $230 billion patent cliff. Between now and 2030, some of the biggest blockbuster drugs on the planet, names like Keytruda and Eliquis, are losing their patent protection. Normally, this would be a celebration. It means these life-saving drugs should become cheap, plentiful generics. But in this new drug trap, the patent cliff is a cliff for the patients too. If no one can afford to manufacture the generic version because of the 145% API tariff and the 2.8% margin, those drugs don't become cheap. They just become unavailable. We are staring at a future where the most advanced medicines ever created simply vanish from the public market, only to reappear in the high-priced shadows. I know, sounds dramatic, but look at the data. The logic of the market is overriding the clinical needs of the population. The new reality is simple, and it's something you need to prepare for. Medical decisions in your household will soon be made by logistics, not by your doctor. You can have the best insurance in the world, and you can hit that $2,000 out-of-pocket cap by February. But that cap doesn't matter if the pharmacy shelf is bare. Your health is no longer just a biological question, it's a supply chain question. We are already seeing 400% markups in the gray market for certain cancer meds and GLP-1s. People are starting to practice pharmacy tourism, traveling across borders not for cheaper prices, but just to find a bottle that actually has pills in it. The drug trap is set. We've built a system where it's cheaper to let a shortage happen than to fix the underlying economics. In the coming years, the most valuable asset in your home won't be your jewelry or the car in your driveway. It'll be that half-full bottle of generic antibiotics at the back of your medicine cabinet, because in a world of managed scarcity, the most expensive pill is the one you can't find. If the world's largest manufacturers are walking away from the table, what does that tell you about the safety of your own medicine cabinet? It's something to think about the next time you drop off a prescription. The math is changing, and the cost of staying healthy just went up, even if the price tag says otherwise.